Hello, comrades. Today we have an extremely urgent and pressing topic. With the audio industry guru Victor Mikhailovich, we will discuss, is there any point in cables at all? By the way, we will have an answer. Recently there's been one person in the world. No, Alex. Acoustic cables greatly affect the sound. Really very much so. If it's a good acoustic cable, then there's the sound stage. To give a simple example, Luxman 505, a Japanese amplifier. Victor Mikhailovich will now explain and prove to people like those in the world who don't believe and similar individuals who are not our friends at all, who don't understand why people spend big money on cables, fuses, and so on.
Let's analyze this example. Here, we have the Luxman 505X. Now I'll show you just a moment. Let me turn it around carefully. Here, we have the Luxman 505X. Let's look at the backside. All right, now watch. It can be switched, so you can easily switch it to 110. That is 100 volts, 110, right? Then 220. So we've switched it to 220. Accordingly, we change the fuse. That is the fuse. We change accordingly the plug to the Russian one, that is to a classic Russian cable. Classic, yes, to a triple. Because here it's double, here it's non-standard. Set. Yes, it is removed easily, simply. The ground is soldered to the body, that is everything, is inserted. Now let's get to the wires. Here we have our Russian wires, regular Russian. This is 100 volt, which comes in the set. Well, now the difference, look, the 100 volt that comes in the set is a 2-core 100 volt. This is a wire. From Japan again, from Tsapo.
This is 3-core.
This is, I repeat, from Tsapo. So the wire from Tsapo is thicker than our 220 volt. Again, 2-core, double.
Yes.
Well, so here are the wires. So what thickness are they? What is it here? Here, I don't even know what to talk about. Well, here are the wires. So they are, wires. So with these wires already, you can kill wires and wires. Yes. But again, about the fuses. Here, there's an alloy for braking everywhere. Everywhere, there's an alloy for braking. So I believe that if it says 3 amps, but it's set to 220, then 6.3 should be set. Again, guys, as you wish. If you want, change to branded fuses. If you don't want to. Like with money, the amplifier is old, but super with a classic sound. Amazing, powerful, rich, really cool. So the amp is old, but solid. If it's in perfect condition, then there are no questions about it at all. Although the clamps are not WBT, but ordinary old-fashioned clamps. So you insert clamp and that's it. Here, if you can clean everything, lubricate, wipe everything down, pour some liquid over it, everything will be great.
What do you say about the fact that Nordost cables are for idiots? People buy them for thousands of dollars. Are they complete fools?
Well, again, with the $1,000. What $1,000? Who is this? Who says that? Is it MT saying this or what?
Well, in the world, no.
Well, it's MT, yes. Well, I'll say it again, MT starts to talk nonsense. He's telling everyone these tales. He has Serwin Vega speakers. Serwin Vega, I had a bus, a Volkswagen minibus I used to transport from Gorbushka. Well, from the first floor, these Serwin Vega speakers. I probably brought 3 pairs of them. Inside these speakers, there's a fuse and a board. The board is the size of 2 matchboxes. There are no components there, no coils. There's not just no copper, there's nothing at all. These speakers are supposed to be placed, let me explain again, so everyone understands. You go outside, there are 3 trash bins, 4 trash bins, green, red, blue in color. You place these speakers on one side and on the other side, you play exactly the music of a cat, a dog, a bulldog. Look at the animals that flew in. The rats crawled towards the beaters. They start to scare. These speakers, Cherwin Vega, have nothing to do with music. What they were weaving, that some engineer from the Rolling Stones invented them. I'm actually quite amazed. And he's weaving something again, lifted some speakers onto marble, placed these Serwin Vega records. Why does he need this? You need to place 4 weights at the corners of the speaker for them to play. 16 kilograms of weights, 16, 4 weights of 16 to press down the speakers so that at least the drivers don't Run around the speakers. Don't run like mice.
It's of course not such an old audio.
No, actually, I brought this.
I also deal in acoustics.
No, come on. Are you kidding or what?
For more than 10 years, I can say that I haven't recommended Serwin Vega to a single client because,
No, but how? Cherubin Vega, Serwin Vega, there was a bunch. That's what they called them.
well, people call it differently. Yes, let's say, oh, it's not the level. If you want to dive into music more seriously,
You want, he was saying, I don't remember. He was saying something in his interview. I went to the salon, listened. There was some good bass, somewhat. What bass was there? The bass there is rubbery. There's rubber. There's no musicality there at all. No, I'm not arguing, I say again, I'm not denying it. But I don't know, he's assembling some kind of D-amplifiers, measuring parameters, those frequency response curves. Why, who needs this? He says, I measured the frequency response curve. Where did he measure the frequency response curve? They are just trying out the frequency response at Kashchenko Hospital. Kashchenko checks the frequency response curve. You understand? I say again, let me emphasize this now. Just what he writes, you can see his fan. He has a lot of fans. God bless him.
it's so handy.
No. God bless him. God bless him. You bought the cheapest one and that's it. Let this Roman triple fours or Roman triple ones, oh, 4 ones, wrong, 4 ones. Roman 4 writes, everyone needs to have a tester. An RCL generator doesn't know how a transistor works. I explained to him, okay, to Roman so he understands. He goes to the administration of any city council, C council, wherever he wants, to a concert hall, approaches, say, Philip Kirkorov, or whoever he wants. He approaches and asks, tell me please, do you have an oscilloscope? Do you have a tester? Do you have like any other one? If we ask on the street, everyone has it, and it's not even necessary. But many come to the workshop, repair equipment, and he writes about how a transistor works. That is, they don't know how a transistor works. Why would Bill Gates or someone like, say, Messi or Pelé need to know how a transistor works? They'll bring the equipment, set it up, adjust everything. There are knowledgeable engineers, very knowledgeable. And he writes some nonsense about needing a tester. At my work, everyone has a tester. So what? So what? I have 2 testers. So what? I have an oscilloscope on board. So what? I'll measure these amplifiers. They can handle these amplifiers easily. So what? I just don't get it. Then he wants to check how a transistor works. I suggest a very good method for transistors. It's a super simple method. You go straight to the boxing section, enter the boxing section and say, not to the junior group, but the senior one, where they are 16, 17, 19 years old. Guys, please explain how a transistor works, how to remove the cap from a transistor. They'll explain it to him in the ring, explain it in no time, and he'll forget about asking all these questions. Well, I don't understand. Will he go to Baskov or someone else to ask, listen, do you have a tester? Do you have a generator? Why aren't you measuring anything like why does he need it? The person has a financial foundation. He will buy all this, and they will bring him everything in good condition. What is the conversation about here? I don't understand at all why there are craftsmen who work in radio workshops, there are engineers up at Music Fidelity, and at the same, like Hammond, at top companies, there are engineers who, Macintosh, geniuses, they develop, and there's no need to meddle there. If you want to replace something, then change the connector. Next, if you don't want these cables, this mouse tail, if you want to plug this in, well, if you love these mouse tails, please take a cable, try it, stretch wire, try this amplifier. The sound will be different. Guys, try it, please. Here you go. If you don't want to, I'm saying again, please, here you go. Silver, yes. Let's turn it on and see. I'm not arguing. This amplifier costs 65,000 rubles. The cable costs 45. Yes, that's a lot. But guys, it will enhance the sound. Physics, mystics, there are a lot of physicists. No. There are some engineers walking around. I'm almost like an energy specialist. I'm an engineer. You all are obsessed with something. Why are you obsessed? Just try it. Just give it a try. I'm not saying. Try changing the cable to a more expensive one. And you will hear a completely different sound. And then you will be explaining. I don't want to explain anything to anyone because I already explain it every time at work. My throat is already sore from explaining, and about the fuses. I tell them that there's a roses alloy. There's a roses alloy on tap, this thin wire. So what next? Well, put in a proper fuse, a quality fuse. This is basically, consider it, the point goes, or from the phase, comes here and passes through. If you phase the wire correctly, well, it goes into the circuit. So why not install it? Why not pay some money to slightly improve the sound quality? Well, they don't want to. They don't want to.
Explain how to connect by phase to people.
By phase, I say again, here, the taps, here. If you look like this, the right side, here's the phase, this one on the right side. This is the phase on the right side. Definitely.
Insert the tester and that's it. If not, just replug it.
Indicator, yes. I just have a branded one, but like this, on the right side.
And your bass will be different, friends.
This has been tested for speakers, for these speakers, for DACs, and for speaker wires. I found some acoustic ones lying around on the floor near my trash can. Well, here are the wires. These are about 0.35 and 0.35. These wires, these are high quality wires, very high quality. They are made according to the Maiden pattern. Well, from the town. Remember, right? Madenschina. Yes, yes. That is Madenschina, Madenschina, Madenschina. So they are made in Maden. These wires are made in Maden. High quality wires with quality sound, with well-developed bass. The highs are divine. The mid-range is simply golden. I mean, you could even throw Sonus Faber and all of them, all the speakers, you could just dump them in the trash, really, just load them there. Well, the person, I don't know, well, the person is just talking nonsense there. In general, I look there, I measured the frequency response, that's all. Yeah, what, who cares? He measured the frequency response. Pritch there, I measured it. It doesn't concern anyone at all. Well,
you know, Victor, here we are with you.
Emphasize, actions.
We were just standing before recording the first video. You made a very valid point, I thought about it, that indeed a person is training their army of enthusiasts not to develop, not to buy something truly good, not to strive for better, but just to go down well. It's clear that the soul there, you have to think about the material. But it's not bad when people strive for better.
No, I'll say it again. Well, I'm saying I've been on the same path for many years. I'll say it again. I also started with cheap equipment, with the 17th electronics, and it went little by little, gradually. Then I bought equipment. I had 35 AS. I'm not denying anything, just like everyone else. I also, in the same way, everyone has certain, well, saved up a little money, earned it, yes. That's over a lifetime. I bought more or less decent equipment, some coins, spent time at exhibitions there. Of course, Cotton there, listened to a lecture there. When we stood under Plinius there, this.
Well, they say we're fools for spending a lot of money on our hobby.
Well, I'll say it again. Well, let Alexander, Petka, Vaska, Sasha, whoever wants, come to the exhibition. Well, let them bring their cables if they want. Let them bring oscilloscope devices. Let's measure all of this at the exhibition, agree, in this room, and close it for a whole hour. We'll stuff it with blankets, and that's it. And there are no questions at all. So that it's completely soundproof, and we'll test and see what wins.
I absolutely agree.
Well, guys, nobody anything. Well, he has some kind of army, I don't know. What are they writing? Anyway, well, I see there's an army. Someone is writing, I think. These guys urgently need to go to the hospital, specifically Kashchenko. That is, to the hospital, specifically Kashchenko. I'll just explain why. In the hospital, specifically Kashchenko, they will be received in the assembly hall. They will all gather. That is, his entire cohort will gather, like with that MT, right? The entire cohort will gather. And there, they will be in the hospital, specifically Kashchenko, shouting, "Yo, bravo, maestro."
It's convenient to think that everyone around is a fool, and that you're the smartest. You bought some kind of Class D amplifier. A small box, tricked the system, and it sounds much better than some parasound there. You know what surprises me? That there are really many people in the comments. They also try to prove to me on my channel that amplifiers, if they are more or less decent, don't make any difference in sound at all. So if you take a parasound or, for example, an onkyo,
two distinct and different sounds.
You understand? I can hear that there's a difference.
Of course there's a difference. Are you kidding?
How can one say that an amplifier doesn't affect the sound?
Well, wait, but it turns out, let's remember it like this. It's like equivalent cars. So you take a Hyundai Solaris, for example, a Kia Rio, or some other car. Four wheels, a 1.6 engine. They are all different cars, they all drive differently, absolutely differently. No matter what you do, they drive differently. And I say again, you can't say that, but it turns out people don't hear it. How can they not hear it? Maybe there really is some physiological problem. If they can't hear it, there's a very kind suggestion. The Belarus sanatorium. Come to any sanatorium in Belarus, they have a procedure there. I'm not joking. There's a procedure. Yes. They insert a small tube, a paraffin one, and warm up the ears. That is, they remove the cotton from the ears. They'll undergo several procedures, 5 or 6, but at least they'll spend 10 days in a sanatorium in Belarus, relax in the forest, take walks, see the bison, breathe fresh air, enjoy Belarusian cuisine. Maybe they'll feel better. The dairy products are good. Why not? Well, I don't know.
I agree, because maybe I'm somewhat unique, but I seem to be an ordinary person. And I did those tests, even simply on YouTube, like how many kilohertz you can hear. But maybe indeed some people have a certain flaw, specifically physiological. They don't understand how there are people who can't distinguish colors, right?
Yes, of course, colorblind. Yes.
How do you explain to a colorblind person red and burgundy?
No. I think it's just that, guys, they are normal. Well, maybe they are just under some kind of influence, really. Well, I say again, they all want to buy somewhat expensive equipment. I'm not talking about cloud equipment. I'm not talking about crazy expensive, but somewhat decent equipment.
Your list, tell me, what would you advise these guys to buy so they can forget about everything, so they don't have to think about needing cables? Well, what would you suggest?
Well, you could, for example, take a set like the 800 Denon, for instance, with the same Dali speakers, for example.
Well, that's a soft set then.
Yes, I'm not saying otherwise, yes. Then you could buy something like a Marantz, for example. And with Fidel and speakers, for instance, you could take. But again, it's all like this, everything. I say it again. It used to be cheaper, but money was harder to earn. Now all these prices have gone up. It's very hard to buy now. I'm not against it, but yes, it's very hard to buy now and very hard to earn money. Well, now.
There are also our manufacturers.
Ours, yes, premier manufacturers. You can buy speakers far away, like front ones for 40,000 rubles, and gradually get the whole set for 150.
Listen peacefully.
Yes, and listen peacefully, enjoy.
But it won't be top. I'm telling you right away. It won't be top. That is, you won't get the same effect. As if you installed some KEF or expensive Klipsch speakers. There will be a difference, but it won't be as huge as the price difference. But some people are willing to pay for that, right?
Well, yes.
I have acquaintances who actually buy cables like Nordost Valhalla, which cost 500,000 to 1 million rubles. But they have a corresponding system.
That's understandable. This is serious.
They understand why they are doing it.
It's unclear where they are going and what they are doing. It's all clear.
They somehow earned that money too. You can't just assume they're idiots, right? But many people think that if someone is rich, then they're just a fool.
Well, there's this reviewer guy, right, from St. Petersburg, I don't remember. If it's around stereo, how it is, this guy from St. Petersburg who was selling drops for 500,000. I watched a little bit. Well, there was a review like that, right? And then they start discussing him. Yeah, you're there, you're like that. But why can't a person earn money? Maybe the guy is knowledgeable. Yes. He has equipment, listens to classical music. Good for him. I applaud that. There are no questions about that. But they're just very far from his level. Just far. Well, he loves tube equipment. God bless, he has the right stuff there. Single-ended amplifiers, all that. But why? Everything's fine. Good for him there. And there are absolutely no questions.
Victor, agree that here you need to have a trained ear, just like...
Well, of course, yes.
You have to go through it. You have to constantly train your ears. It's like with wine. If you don't drink wine, you don't understand the difference between Burgundy.
Yes, they'll pour you some. Yes. It's all useless here.
But if you constantly train your taste buds, you understand that there's such a difference here. Here you can determine the region. Here you can understand what grape variety it is when it was harvested, for example. These are all very subtle nuances that don't just happen with the snap of a finger.
No, it doesn't happen, of course.
It all comes with years. And if you don't understand this, well, let's say, I think it's very incorrect to discuss and say that these people, yes, who have delved into a certain topic and have truly reached a certain level in it, are fools.
Well, that's why I say everyone wants to have more or less cool equipment. Well, I wanted to improve my system. So I just went to an exhibition, looked around or visited a showroom, or someone more knowledgeable advised me on how to do it, how to do something. I adjusted everything a bit. I live with my system. So this is the system I have at home. No, I'm just saying that, again, I collect music, collect records, everything there. And there are no questions at all. And they're right there, like an audiophile bought himself speakers for $7,000. What an idiot, right? Well, okay, but I also don't understand something. Or cables. What difference does it make? What someone bought?
Listen, cables are already like the final, let's say, polishing of the system. And indeed, they help to correct some nuances because all systems are, well, practically imperfect. I know, for example.
Yes, that's clear.
The drawbacks in my system. You know, I've been to your place too. You know, the drawbacks in your system, they exist one way or another.
Yes, everyone has everything. That's true.
So practically perfect systems don't exist. Maybe there are some magic ones like, yes, M7, which are connected to insanely cool monoblocks. They will play as accurately, clearly, and quickly as possible. But again, many people, of course, won't like this sound. Who's used to something more warm-hearted?
Of course, yes, of course.
So there are many nuances to consider. If you want to assemble a system, again, you need to consult professionals like you or me. But just to broadly say that everyone involved in this is an idiot, I think, is wrong.
No, that's not right.
And spreading this misinformation again there and about...
After this, I just wanted to show, here is the power supply. Here is the power supply from your DAC. Here is the power supply from your DAC. Here is a regular power supply from your DAC DAC. And here's the power supply that should be from your DAC. Here's a stabilized adapter. Stabilized adapter. It will sound completely different. It costs only 1,200, 1,500 rubles. And here's yours, the one you have. And even if your DAC, which costs only 2,000 rubles, if you set it up, then of course, how it is there. People won't believe you that the DAC, more numbers, the fewer pulse outputs, the power supply gives, the higher, the sound quality.
I actually believe that almost everything is tied to the power supply.
A stabilized one will definitely output less. It will work cleaner, and therefore the sound in your DAC will be even cleaner. Here it is. Well, it already weighs, I don't know how much. Well, let it weigh 0.5 kilogram, right? So it has a transformer inside. And what about here?
Power supply is the foundation.
I'll open it up. You'll cry. There are 2 capacitors. 3 resistors. Well,
You agree with me that the main cable is the power supply, right?
no. The main thing is kind of the power supply. Yes, yes, yes.
Speaker cables, friends, not RCA or XLR. XLR, by the way, has the least influence.
Yes, I'm saying even this American one came right. It's exactly 2 meters, 2 meters. I just laughed because the same amplifier had already been sold, right? The person set it up and the sound was completely different.
And the most interesting thing, if it's 3 meters, it will sound different.
Let them give me all these. Agreed? Yes. Let these physicists, right? There. And now I'll just put it next to it again. Here's a mouse tail. That is, in the mouse tail, in the mouse tail. Here's a mouse tail, here. Here's a little mouse tail, here. Here's a cable lying like this. And here's the little mouse tail. Here it is.
Barbarian, as always. They have this patented technology. The point is that the conductors are laid parallel, which means less interference. Almost all manufacturers are coming to this now. And note that Nordost has the same structure.
Yes, yes, yes.
They spread them out as much as possible. It all makes a difference, friends. And again, many write in the comments that everything can be measured. Not everything can be measured. In fact, not everything can be measured. There are parameters that we can hear by ear, but with your machines, by the way, check what year they were made. You might not understand the difference. These measuring devices might not detect this difference. Have you ever thought about this? That it's not just the frequency response that can affect it, but a lot of other parameters as well.
I just can't understand him. It's that MT again, all the way through.
Marinette?
Well, how is it MT? I call it MT. In short, which one? I didn't get it. He opens these little boxes, like those for Ash, like Kucharenko's, and laughs to himself. This little box, as I see it, really, it's some kind of amplifier or something. A DAC with an opening lid. I see there both DAC and modec and amplifier and trash bin and amplifier and light music. So it turns out there are 9 in 1. That's how it should be written. DAC 9 in 1. Right? Yes, that is DAC 9 in 1. Honestly, for example, you could put a glass of juice, a glass of apple juice, on this lid for Brazenkov. Do you know how it will shimmer at night? It will look beautiful. And Mikhail Kucherenko opened the lid, flicked off the ash, and closed it. And at night, for example, if you go walking around the apartment, it will serve as a light. A magnificent thing. Just a magnificent thing. Simply superb. I recommend this thing to everyone. It's generally, 10, 12, or 17,000 rubles. Just a magnificent box. Really, yes. From God. Specifically, with this wire of 0.35. You can't connect more than 0.5. But the wire should be 0.35 or even 0.15 so that it's not visible at all, so that it wasn't visible. This Mitinsky rope that's lying on the floor, there it is with this Mitinsky rope. When they connect with this Mitinsky rope, oh, the sound will be divine. Here, firstly, it's made for colorblind people. It's clearly made red, black. So if you're colorblind, for example, you take a magnifying glass, look through it. Aha, cool. Black is minus, red is plus, you won't mix them up anymore. Well, the wire here is certainly a notable one, right? Here. Well, I don't know. Whether to lead an elephant or a rhinoceros, I don't even know.
Regarding the wire, I had an incident where I was invited to Moscow to set up a home theater. But the problem was that the cables were already laid out at the back, and accordingly, they ordered a system from me. I immediately told them, guys, when I visited their home, that with these cables, your system won't play Saki properly because the cable was, well, about like this.
Well, I see. So the guys had already laid everything out there. Yes.
They told me to do it this way anyway. I assembled the system, the home theater played excellently. Everything was fine. But, friends, believe me, I've been through this a lot. I've set up many theaters. I know how this system should perform, but these cables just killed all the dynamics. And there's nothing even to say about them. Extremely difficult to bring the theater to this maximum level. So I had to really work hard. Therefore, I did everything possible, but a lot depends on the cables.
Oh, it sure does. But for them, nothing depends on it. For them, nothing depends on it.
Well, what can you do, friends? It's always, I repeat, convenient to think that if you have, let's say, not to mention,
well,
a Moskvich, and the one who bought a Rolls-Royce is an idiot.
Here, a little bit, yes. So, I'm just saying that I think the guys simply don't have any systems at all. Nothing really.
In most cases.
Yes, there are simply no systems. There's a minimal kind of micro DAC, phone, headphones. I get it now. And speakers. Well, some tiny ones, like those computer maps, those ones.
Genius, there I remember.
The concept of genius is a fascinating and multifaceted one, often revered and admired for its ability to push the boundaries of human understanding and creativity. However, there exists a paradoxical aspect to genius that can render it laughable in the eyes of some. This perception arises from the fact that what is deemed genius is not always universally recognized or appreciated. Throughout history, many individuals who are now celebrated as geniuses were initially met with skepticism and ridicule. For instance, the groundbreaking theories of scientists like Galileo Galilei and Albert Einstein were once considered absurd by their contemporaries. Similarly, the innovative art of figures such as Vincent van Gogh and Pablo Picasso was initially dismissed as nonsensical. These examples illustrate how the ideas or creations of a genius may appear absurd or ridiculous to those who do not grasp their depth or significance. The irony lies in the fact that what is laughable to some may be groundbreaking to others, highlighting the subjective nature of genius. This subjectivity is influenced by cultural norms, societal values, and the prevailing knowledge of the time. Therefore, it is crucial to approach the concept of genius with an open mind, recognizing that true innovation often challenges conventional thinking and may initially appear laughable before its true value is realized. By embracing this open-mindedness, we allow ourselves to appreciate the full spectrum of human creativity and the potential for genius to transform our world in unexpected ways. Furthermore, the journey of a genius is often fraught with challenges and misunderstandings. The path to recognition is rarely straightforward, as the ideas that define genius frequently challenge the status quo and provoke discomfort among those who are accustomed to conventional ways of thinking. This discomfort can manifest as laughter or dismissal, as people struggle to reconcile new ideas with their existing beliefs. Yet, it is precisely this ability to challenge and provoke that makes genius so valuable. It is through the questioning of established norms and the exploration of uncharted territories that true progress is made. The history of human achievement is replete with examples of individuals who dared to think differently, and, in doing so, changed the course of history. From the scientific breakthroughs that have expanded our understanding of the universe, to the artistic movements that have reshaped our perception of beauty, the impact of genius is profound and far-reaching. As we continue to explore the boundaries of human potential, it is essential to remember that the seeds of genius often lie in the fertile ground of the unconventional and the unexpected. By nurturing these seeds with curiosity and open-mindedness, we can cultivate a world where the laughable becomes the laudable and the impossible becomes the inevitable. Well, someone might say, guys, I have a Pioneer vinyl turntable. Yes, but the cartridge is, for example, such and such. There's an SA one there, Audio-Technica there. Bought it for this much, for that much there. Diamond stylus here. He doesn't explain anything. He superficially weaves everything, spins some kind of tale. Let him explain specifically, say, guys, I took the Nordost 1 cable. Here I have the real one, and here's the Chinese one. Let's do some measurements. This one costs 2 million, and this one, 1 million. Or an amplifier, for example, Griffon. I have one Griffon on the table and another disassembled. The 333rd and the 300th Griffon. Let's take a look at...
What's the difference, right?
Yes, let's open the covers and take a look. There. I would bow to him, just say, knowledgeable person. He opens the covers of the Griffons and says, look, here there's a 16 amp socket and here a 20 amp one. And let's figure out further, why does this amplifier have a 20 amp one and here a 16 amp one? What kind of power supply is here? What capacitors? What else? What transistors? Why is the circuit designed this way here? Why are there microchips? Why do wires from the transformer go to 4 fuses and here they go to 2?
By the way, I have such a video, I made it.
Well,
I constantly compare.
I'm just saying, yes, why would he explain this to us fools? I would be deeply grateful to him. I would just bow and say, wow, this guy is knowledgeable. Thank you so much. If he explained all this because, for example, I don't know this. Well, I mean, I just know how they differ. And I know a lot of equipment, but it's impossible to open it because you have to buy it. And then they show some boxes like DACs, Christmas ornaments, with opening ashtrays by Mikhail Kucherenko. I don't know. Well, it's laughable. Well, it's just, for what class is this? Well, any person can, get a salary, let's say 30,000 rubles, 40,000 rubles, and say, son, come on, or daughter, I bought you, for example, this little box for 10,000, for 17,000 rubles. That's it. She turned on the dicky, for example, into her balalaika, or bought a Marshall speaker. Well, Marshall speakers are sold, yes, and with vinyl turntables. It's trendy now. Young people are buying Marshall speakers and affordable vinyl turntables, like a white speaker, yes, turntable. Beautiful, amazing. Well done, well done. That's it. Via Bluetooth, everything, that's it. No questions. Agreed. Well, and then there's this chatter. Some kind of scam, fools, some coins, spikes. And as for himself, there's nothing. Well, I don't want to continue that thought. It's just laughable. Well, there's Aladdin's booth sitting in Aladdin's booth. If he had come to some exhibition and said, Victor, give me your hand, high five, I'd shake it. Let's walk around the exhibition. Let's listen together. That room, that one, we'll discuss it together. And we can do an interview together. We'll just walk through the rooms, let me say, yes, it's bad here. He'll say, it's good. Sorry, your ears, you're the one listening. It's clear here. That's it. And yes, it plays clearly. And why not? And we're discussing some kind of nonsense. These power supplies, these tails, these mouse-like ones. Well, this power supply, honestly, I don't even know what to connect it to.
Phones used to be charged with these.
What phone? Well, here it is. Here is the power supply. Here it is. I got it from a guy at the DAC, specifically a power supply. Can you imagine? Well, here's the power supply here. So it comes with a transformer. It's stabilized.
You plug it into the socket and...
You plug it into the socket and then the DAC can burn out and everything and flames will burst out, whatever you want.
And strangely enough...
No protection there.
The sound, if it's good high-end equipment, deteriorates.
I say it again. I look at these DACs, just like dimmers. I haven't dealt much with DACs, but I've dealt with a lot of amplifiers, yes. That is, I kind of tested it myself. When you take apart a DAC, there are no fuses anywhere. There's nothing there. Everything is just as they all love it. Now, well, I don't know. Well, in terms of sound, there's this guy. We have a round stereo, right? From Saratov, right? He's a decent guy. Alexander, right? Alexander, right? Yes, Alexander. Well, Alexander is the guy, yes, from around stereo. Honestly, God bless him. Even when I come home tired from work, well, damn, I'm just exhausted. These amplifiers are already in my eyes. I even dream about them. Well, I turn him on. I swear, honestly, I fall asleep to him and sleep very well. He explains things wonderfully, very competently. Well, let him say what he wants, but he speaks the truth. There was one time I really liked what he said. He says, guys, we won't talk about anything because, he says, there are old speakers and there are new ones. No matter how old, he says, even if you try, technologies have moved on. He's right. In new speakers, there's already new technology, new sound. That's how it is. Old cars and new cars. Technologies have moved on. The latest Mercedes at the exhibition in 25, somewhere in Hamburg or wherever it was, in Prague, somewhere there was an exhibition. I was in an interview with him. There's a Mercedes there that's just, what about that 600, which, well, guys used to drive in the 90s? I don't argue. It's a cool Mercedes, soft everything. This is a Mercedes, really on it. Well, it's just already, I don't even have words.
But the technologies are different. Yes, the word. But, to say the least, the quality of Mercedes has significantly deteriorated now. Well, it might be, well, undoubtedly. That is, the lighting will be better, the dynamics will be better, the safety as a rule will be better in the new Mercedes.
I say again, I talked about the service and the design. I haven't driven the chassis.
The chassis will be better too.
Yes, I'm just telling you, we're just talking about the service that, well, if you put this one, put that one, then, of course, yes. Well, compliance.
It's not a fact. It will last longer. Most likely it will last less than the previous model. But it will be more technologically advanced, friends.
It will be more tech advanced.
It's kind of, well, absolutely silly to argue with that. Although, maybe you like the old one, for example. For example, I drive a 221st.
And it's a great car, really. Well, why?
Yes, there are its own nuances. But when I sit, for example, in the 223rd, yes, Mercedes, there are also certain nuances. There, the plastic is already instead of wood. And the leather seems to be eco. But you still understand that the car is technologically advanced.
Well, I just want to say it's more comfortable. A small example, right? Well, I drive an old Volvo. Yes, I have an old Volvo, right? I drive. Well, I'm just saying, I drive, yes.
Safe.
No, I drive an old Volvo. A guy asked, he says, Victor, you need to, he says, make a trip. He says, to one place. I say, what car do you have? Hyundai Solaris. I had never sat in one. I literally drove about 3 kilometers. And I understood what a Volvo is and what a Hyundai Solaris is.
What's the difference?
Yes, what's the difference? In a Volvo, you ride on a soft couch. On a soft couch. And it, first of all, it weighs nearly 2 tons. Nearly 2 tons. It's very heavy. It, how to say, holds the road and everything. In the Hyundai Solaris, it felt like I sat in the year 65, in a black and white TV, sat on exactly that chair, with those wooden backs, those wooden chairs that existed before foam was used. And there was fabric and batting. Yes, and worn out batting. When I sat down, I got out and my vertebrae were aching. I thought, listen, damn, isn't the Hyundai Solaris supposed to be a technological car? Everyone seems to buy it. But still.
Well, it's entry level. Was it new?
Well, yes, it was new. It's just that the license plates were old. And I drove and I realized, God forbid, steer me away from it. Although it's a new car too. Well, compared to a Volvo, it's child's play. It's not even up for discussion. Not at all. In general, there are nuances everywhere. Yes, here. But again, it's about the level. Well, let's consider it this way. Volvo that year was luxury. It was in the luxury salon. Top, yes. So therefore...
Plus it has safety. Yes, this is completely different. You can choose hot, cool things from the past in good condition that can last a long time. But of course, if we're talking about technology, you don't use, for example, a laptop from, say, 1995, do you?
No, that's clear. It's an outdated model. It's all over, yes.
A phone. What kind of phone do you have, friends? A button phone or maybe a rotary dial one. But that's for enthusiasts, too.
Well, yes.
You use an iPhone or some kind of Android, so Victor Mikhailovich, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Write in the comments what you think, and we'll go listen to wires. Let's do it, yes.